Greetings to you from Vasva Group. We take this opportunity to welcome you to this customer awareness on Square Principle. This is related to designing a tender document. Every customer designs a tender document. They float inquiry to invite offers from suitable bidders for their work. What is the aim of a good tender document? A good tender document should give clear understanding about purview of work, and it should define the battery limit clearly. It should design terms and conditions mutually agreeable and acceptable and must be logically adoptable. A pricing structure which is mutually acceptable. After all, the contract document should be such that it should be dispute-free. Now, what is the objective of Square Principle? This ensures that the tender document is well designed. It ensures that ambiguities from bidder are very less and minimum clarification is asked by a bidder. Most important thing is that this provides opportunity to reduce project cost. Reduction of project cost directly and indirectly also. This ensures mutually acceptable contract documents, thus avoiding any dispute during course of work. Let us discuss in details in next slides. The terminology Square is defined as follows. S stands for specified, Q stands for quantified, U stands for unit of measurement, should maintain linear relationship between quantity and expenses. A stands for accessible during tender stage, also accessible and accessible during measurement for billing. R stands for rate should be decided for every activities which are variable and to be paid at actuals. E stands for excluded from main work if any other condition is not fulfilled. Each one of the above is explained with practical examples in next slides. S stands for specified. Let us discuss with one example. A contractor received an inquiry as follows. Of course, this is one part of the main tender documents, where there was some other work also. Providing and fixing galvalume sheeting work, thickness 26 SWG, including GI bolts. Sheeting work includes cutting, trimming and overlap. Contracted to quote in rupees per meter square. Actual projected sheeting area will be paid. It sounds very good, as if the customer has defined everything clearly. Let us discuss the lacuna in this. Following are the missing information. What is the diameter of J-bolt? 8 mm or 6 mm? What is the size of purlin channel? ISMC 125, ISMC 150 or anything else? What is the distance from purlin to purlin? Why these questions arise with the bidder? Because he has to take correct price of materials. The weight of J-bolt depends on the diameter, the length and the overall quantity. This determines the cost of J-bolts. Now the diameter is not provided. Size of purlin decides the length of J-bolt. If it is ISMC 125, the length will be less. If it is ISMC 175, then the length is 50 mm more. Similarly, the distance from purlin to purlin matters. If the distance is 1.5 meter, then number of J-bolts will be less as compared to purlin distance 1 meter. If in a vertical height of 10 meter there are 6 purlins, naturally J-bolts will be less, and if there are 10 purlins, J-bolts will be more. Some more queries also arise. What is the shape of sheet? There are different profiles available. What is the length of sheet? Different profiles of sheet will have different spread area. This determines overall projected area. All these factors affect the true costing. How a bidder will give competitive price? Obviously, most of the bidders will assume the technical specification pessimistically. Thus, keep higher margin in price. Honest bidder will always get clarification of all these during tender stage. Therefore, the work is not specified. This violates the S of Square Principle. If this is properly specified, then there will not be any chance of deterioration of quality of materials by contractors. Let us discuss another example. A contractor received the following inquiry related to fabrication of structure. This is a part of the tender document. Fabrication of steel structures, including 2 coats of red oxide primer, electrode AWS E7018 and E6013 is in contractor scope. Gas is in contractor scope. Red oxide and thinner is in contractor scope. All manpower and supervision is in contractor scope. All tools, tackles and PPEs are in contractor scope. All material handling equipment like trailer and hydra is in customer scope. Power supply and water will be given by a customer free of cost. Contracted to quote in rupees per metric ton. It seems it is well defined and specified in the perception of customer. Well, we will see the loopholes in the next slides. These are ambiguities in the mind of a bidder. What is the proportion of E7018 and E6013? What is the application of E7018? Why it is important? Of course, this affects the price. E8018 is 23% costlier than E6013. Now, how much percentage E7018 should be assumed out of total electrodes? Should it be 80% or 30% or anything else? Bidder has not received any fabrication drawings in which the specific application of E7018 electrode is provided. What is the tonnage of steel structure where E7018 electrode is used? Without any of this information, how a bidder will work out true costing? Either he will assume pessimistically that 80 to 90% is maybe E7018 electrode. Then this will increase the price of the work. Now some more queries also arise in the mind of a bidder. What is the average specific surface area of steel sections? What is the section-wise weight of steel sections? Whether there is built-up sections like star section, T sections, etc. Why this is important? Because it is asked to consider painting work. Lighter steel sections will have more painting area. It will consume more paint. Heavier steel sections will have less painting area. For example, angle ISA 90:90:6 and ISA 90:90:10. Take 1 metric ton of both sections. ISA 90:90:6 will have approximately 170 meter length, whereas ISA 90:90:10 will have approximately 130 meter length. Painting area for ISA 90:90:10 is approximately 24% less than ISA 90:90:6 because 1 meter length of both the sections have same painting area, but the weight is different. Painting cost is a substantial part of fabrication. Also, it varies in wide range from lightweight structure, medium weight structure and heavyweight structure. Also, built-up sections consume more gas and electrode. Assume a steel column. It is mentioned in the drawing to fix the two flange plates of 16 mm thick on the flange of ISMB 400. A contractor has to cut the plate and weld it throughout the ISMB 400 both sides of the flange. Therefore, a bidder definitely tries to know the quantity of work which is built up sections. Therefore, the work is not specified. A bidder can't work out true costing. This too violates the S of square principle. Q stands for quantified. Let us discuss with one example. A mechanical contractor received inquiry as follows. This is a part of tender document for mechanical erection work package. Any foundation chipping up to 25 mm is in the scope of mechanical contractor. Contractor to include this work in the scope of mechanical erection of equipment. Erection of equipment will be paid as per actual tonnage of work. This part of work is not quantified properly, only specifying that chipping up to 25 mm is not sufficient. What is the area of a foundation and how many foundations is there? In short, contractor has to know what is the volume of chipping work. Is it 5 cubic decimeter or 100 cubic decimeter? Of course, 1000 cubic decimeter is equal to 1 cubic meter. Knowing this data will help to make assessment of man days due to chipping work and accordingly include in the price. Therefore, the work is not quantified. A bidder can't work out true costing. This too violates the Q of square principle. There is another alternative. A customer can always ask the bidder to furnish a supplementary price. Let the bidder quote supplementary rate for chipping of concrete in rupees per cubic decimeter. Let it be paid at actuals. Let us discuss another example. The following activities are involved in a cement mill separator rotor replacement work. This is a part of the tender document. Let us read out the activity descriptions given by customer. Dismantling of rotor assembly, inspection of bearing and changing if necessary, inspection of separator guide vanes, replacement of worn-out guide vanes, patching the body if necessary, fixing the rotor assembly, alignment of gearbox and motor. All manpower, tools, tackles and personal protective equipments are in contractor's scope and material handling equipment like Hydra trailer forklift are in customer's scope. Contractor to quote a lump sum price. It seems it is well defined at first glance. What are the shortcomings in the description? See the second activity. It says changing the bearing if necessary. What does it mean? Whether the contractor has to consider the cost of this or should not consider? If a bidder considers the cost, but actually the activity is not done, because after inspection of bearings it is found manageable. What is the implication? That means the customer is paying more in disguise. The contractor has fixed the price in lump sum basis and will produce invoice of the whole work. It does not matter whether the bearings were required to be replaced or not. See the fourth activity. Replacement of worn out guide vanes. How much guide vanes shall be replaced? Suppose there are 144 guide vanes in the separator. If it is not quantified, then a contractor may assume whole 144 quantity. On actual inspection, it was required to replace only 14 guide vanes. That means customer has paid for rest 130 guide vanes without doing any work, because the work is fixed in lump sum and the contractor produced the invoice of the whole amount after the work is over. The description, if required, which is worn out, damaged bearings only, does not quantify the part of the work. Here, of course, most of the work is quantified, but some part of work is still not quantified. This creates ambiguity in a bidder. A bidder may pessimistically assume the work and take higher margin of man days. Result is higher price quoted. This too violates the Q of square principle. Now some customer may question how a maintenance engineer can know how much guide vanes are worn out. It can't be known unless plant stops and inspection is done during shutdown. Well, the answer is simple. Let the activity be bifurcated whose quantity is not clear. Let the contractor quote separate price for first one, replacement of bearings in rupees per bearing. Second one, replacement of guide vanes in rupees per guide vanes. Third one, patching of body in meter square of body or actual manpower basis. U stands for unit of measurement, should maintain linear relationship between quantity and expenses. What does it mean? Let us take an example. A contractor received an inquiry as follows. Fabrication of plate work, including 1 coat of red oxide primer and 2 coats of smoke grey paint. All consumables are in contractor's scope. Paint and thinner is in contractor's scope. All manpower, tools, tackles and personal protective equipments are in contractor's scope. Steel is in customer's scope. Hydra trailer is in customer's scope. Contractor to quote in rupees per metric ton of fabrication. Fabrication price is rupees per metric ton, including painting, is equal to the sum of 2. That is, first one, fabrication price in rupees per ton excluding paintings, plus second one, that is painting of structure in rupees per metric ton. Indirectly, it is asked to quote the price of painting of structure in rupees per metric ton. Immediately question arises, what is the specific surface area of steel in square meter per metric ton? Why? Because painting is proportional to area and not proportional to weight. For example, a kiln shell weighing 50 metric ton may have 700 square meter surface area, and cooler fan ducts which is made of 3 mm plate weighing only 3 metric ton may have surface area of 700 square meter. If we are paying as per unit price rupees per metric ton, then we are paying drastically different amount for the same expenses incurred by contractor. Somewhere the contractor is profiteering, whereas some are making loss. Expenses are not maintaining linear relationship with the methodology of the unit of measurement, that is, rupees per metric ton. If expenses for 1 metric ton of work is 1000 rupees, for 2 metric ton is 2000 rupees and for 5 metric ton it is 5000 rupees, then it is said that it is maintaining linear relationship. Therefore, this too violates the U of square principle. However, paying in rupees per square meter is more appropriate because this unit of measurement maintains linear relationship. Let us take another typical example. A customer asks the contractor to quote price for replacement of motor in rupees per kilowatt basis. This was requirement of annual maintenance contract. The customer wants to fix schedule rates for activities. There are hundreds of jobs in the price list and this is one out of them. There are many varieties of motors at various places of different kilowatt. What does it mean? That means if contractor quotes rupees 1000 per kilowatt of motor, it means rupees 11,000 for 11 kilowatt motor and rupees 90,000 for 90 kilowatt motor. Actually, it is not so. See the graph. Y-axis is expenses on the motor replacement and X-axis is motor kilowatt. The red color is expenses graph. It is not linear. That means this violates the U of square principle. You may go to a photocopy and printing shop. Printing of drawing prices as follows. Price for A4 size paper printing is rupees 2 per sheet. Price for A3 size paper printing is rupees 10 per sheet. Price for A2 size paper printing is rupees 70 per sheet. Price for A1 size paper printing is rupees 120 per sheet. Will he agree to quote the printing price in rupees per square meter? Absolutely not. A3 size paper is twice the area of A4 size, so the price should be rupees 4. Whereas the vendor is charging rupees 10. A2 size paper is 4 times the area of A4 size, so the price should be rupees 8. Whereas the vendor is charging rupees 70. Because the expenses are not linearly proportional to the area of paper. there is a very high investment on machine which is used for printing large drawings. That means this violates the U of square principle. A stands for accessible during tender stage, also accessible and accessible during the measurement for billing. Let us understand it step by step. Accessible during tender stage. What does it mean? The assessment of work should be possible during tender stage from the tender documents it is provided. Now look at the example. In one of the tender documents for mechanical work of a large project, it is mentioned that contractor will consider all scaffolding materials and scaffolding work and include them in the expenses. Contractor should quote the price of erection of machineries in rupees per metric ton, wherein the scaffolding work is included. Customer has not provided any GA drawings or elevation drawings. Only they have mentioned erection of equipment is 700 metric ton. Now, how a contractor can make assessment of scaffolding work from a figure of 700 metric ton of machineries? It is absolutely not possible. There is no relationship between total weight of equipment and the scaffolding work. Healthy and true assessment can be done after careful study of drawings, erection plan, how much permanent platforms are already provided, and so on. It is not accessible during tender stage. That means these violates the A of square principle. Next comes accessible for measurement. That means it should be convenient for customer to check and clarify the measurement. A customer wanted to tighten the bolts of ball mill liners and wanted to pay as per number of bolts tightened. Contractor argued that the bolt which needs more tightening should have higher price. If a bolt required half revolution of spanner, it may consume 1 minute, whereas if a bolt required 5 revolution of spanner, it may need 5 minutes. Then the contractor proposed different price schedule. Tightening less than 1 round the spanners, rupees 60 per bolt. Tightening up to 3 rounds the spanners, rupees 110 per bolt. Tightening more than 3 rounds the spanners, rupees 130 for bolt. Now the question is, who will monitor the number of revolution of spanners to certify the measurement submitted by contractor? Should a customer's engineer stand there and count number of revolutions? It is highly impractical. This is not accessible and accessible for billing purpose. That means this violates the A of square principle. R stands for rates should be decided for every activity which are variable and to be paid at actuals. Let us understand it with an example. A contractor received a work order for pipeline laying. This is a part of total work order. Total quantity of pipeline is provided, that is 65 meter. The diameter of pipeline is provided, that is 125 meter. Price is fixed rupees 455 per running meter. In other document of the work order, it has already been mentioned that all consumables, manpower and tools tackles are in the scope of contractor. Accordingly, price is fixed. It is no issue. That part is clear. Now the point is that pipeline laying work is conflicting with existing structure. GI sheets and structure is conflicting. Therefore, to make the pipeline installation, first of all the dismantling of sheets are to be done. However, the rate of dismantling is not fixed in the work order. Therefore, the activity of dismantling is not valid because it is not paid. That means either the customer has to get it done from other agencies at their expenses or amend the work order. No work is valid without price for it. That means this violates the R of square principle. Let us take another example. A contractor receives work order for fabrication of structure 460 metric ton. Gas and electrodes are in contractor's scope and red oxide and thinner is in customer's scope. Price is also fixed. The point is that the work is inclusive of straightening of bent steel. Now question arises, how much quantity are bent? Normally it is assumed that steel is manufactured as per rolling tolerance IS 1852 is to 1985. Bendiness and twistiness within the rolling tolerance is acceptable. Straightening the steel which is beyond the rolling tolerance is considered as additional activity, whose rate should be fixed in rupees per metric ton basis. Of course, billing should be as per actual quantity. There should not be any activity which is included in work but its rate is not fixed. Either that activity should be removed or otherwise rate should be fixed. That means this violates the R of square principle. E stands for excluded from main work if any other condition is not fulfilled. Let us cite one example. In a tender document for brownfield mechanical project work, it is mentioned as follows. The contractor shall perform any services, tests, etc. which may not be specified but nevertheless required for the completion of work commissioning. This is very generic sentence. The work is neither specified nor quantified. The price is not fixed. How can a bidder estimate the costing of such an activity and load the price? Therefore, this is not acceptable. This should be excluded from scope of work as per E of square principle. Any other alternative is such that activities can be done by providing manpower supply basis and the rates should be fixed. Hope the fundamentals are clearly explained. This fundamental principle is applicable for designing a healthy and clear tender package and also a healthy and clear work order. Customer satisfaction is our motto. Thank you.